All right, so looking at the big picture of our fantasy composite, it looks really small, but when we actually zoom in at real resolution, we'll see how refined our selections sometimes need to be in order to be believable. Now, it's with things with hard edges that aren't organic that you need to do these very careful selections. Otherwise, the eraser tool at different opacities can do a nice job blending. And you can hold down Shift and you can add to your selections if you find your lots of little bits. The danger then is you can over-select, kind of erase too much. So I'm gonna leave that in for now. The other thing is, once you have a selection, maybe you don't want to delete it completely. Maybe you want to then just erase within that selection at a limited opacity. So that's what I might do here. To help transition those different elements. Especially when selections are hard, that might be a good decision. It's hard to define where they start and stop. Because your eraser can be used in a pretty targeted way as well. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now, it's really tempting to get too detailed at this stage. And remember that the little details, they'll matter in the end, but you want to always be keeping your eyes on the big picture, which is why Command 0 is a handy shortcut. Kind of looking out and seeing how much there really is that you want to composite with. Because all I've done so far is just replace the sky. But it is looking pretty convincing, which is great. And I'm working from the background to the foreground. What's nice about that is a lot of the foreground things I'll use are going to overlap with the background and help make some of those transitions more believable. So you notice I'm not worried about the bottom at all. I'm dealing with all the top edge that I know will be seen. This is a perfect situation where holding down Shift and using the magic wand for each of these little cutouts is really helpful. But instead of just deleting them entirely, I'm going to use the eraser at that 40% opacity just to give them a slightly more blended, naturalistic look. think I might do that with the eraser here as well. Make it a little bit bigger, kind of transition it more slowly. So sometimes having good reference is a mixed blessing because it makes for a lot of work as well. All right. So that's my sketch. I've kind of covered everything that's in the sketch area with that seam. Now I want to build up on top of this. So what's next? How about this wreckage here? Move that layer on top of what I've been working on. Take the sketch out. And maybe place it, let's see, probably going to get rid of this entirely. You can also do large erasers, erasing, using your lasso tool and just hitting delete. Maybe I do need that, so maybe I just want to place it a little more off to the side. Out of the area of my sketch. Yeah, I think that will work pretty well. And now I'm going to use the magic wand. Again, it's nice that it's very bright sky. That's pretty easy to select. This will help me no matter where I do the selection or wherever I move this reference. You'll get a lot of practice at selections. Now it's handy that this is rubble all at strange angles because the perspectives aren't as easily dismissed as being wrong because everything's tilting at kind of off angles because it's falling over. But now I have this element that's kind of nicely cut out that I can place in different parts of this. I think I might want it somewhere like that. And I can adjust the lighting and the highlights next time and really kind of make it work. I can even play with its size a little bit. I want to make it a little bit bigger. Have more overall impact. Maybe something like that. So we'll see. Okay, next, the rubble. Just rubble on rubble, so much. Before I get into that, because I think I might want some open space, I'm going to bring this thing in, bring it on top, and have something, you know, kind of clearly in the foreground, overlapping everything else. very chaotic landscape right now. Now this is going to be a little trickier to select because it's not so easy in terms of the sky. And so to do that, I'm going to turn off the other layers behind it. And when I use the magic wand, you can see that it's going to give me lots of little fragments, which isn't always bad, but it's not a clean job. So to select out of it, I'm going to do this mixture of different techniques. Using the magic wand, using the lasso. And doing a lot of it just by eye, because the computer can't do an easy job of selecting out the different edges. Especially all these really ragged, rusty edges that make this object so interesting. Now I do want some of this ground, so I don't need to delete all of that. But I don't want it to look like a hard edge. So that's where the eraser can come into. Help me soften some of this debris. And once you get used to the tools, it actually can go pretty fast. All right, so if I turn on my other layers now, the trick is kind of blending this into this. Turn on the sky. All right. So I want to make sure I'm on the right layer. And I'll start by just doing some soft erasing. And see where the transitions make sense, and then see where I need to sharpen them a little. Now we're starting to get into where atmosphere matters. The graininess of it. Right, so maybe something kind of like that. Where it looks too bright, I can just erase little sections softly.